Good morning. It's Kirsten Liebelt. How are you? It's good to see you. So, what is it? Is it Tuesday? It's Tuesday morning, and I'm going to have some breakfast. And I wanted to just do a little bit of breakfast chat and see how you guys are doing. Um, so it's so really cool to chat with y'all about things that are super, because at my very heart, I really do like to explain things. And so this has been really good. So yesterday I was talking to somebody, and we'll get into this in just a little bit about digestion, but then somebody was talking to me about what does it look like to eat over 100 grams of protein in a day. Right now, if you are following and tracking any of my content, you know that I was insulin resistant for 20 years. I didn't do anything about it for 20 full years. Did you know? I would like to know who knows this. Did you know that you can be insulin resistant like forever and it does not show up in your blood sugar? Did you know that? Like, this is the confusion that we fight. So this is why I'm thoroughly convinced that women are sliding into their 40s. They're insulin resistant. They don't know it. They don't know insulin is a hormone. I knew none of this. I knew none of this. And this is why you can't lose weight. This is why the hamster wheel goes round and round and round. Well, when I was growing up, and my dad was type 2, insulin dependent. He died at 63. Nobody talked about insulin resistance. I never heard the terminology. Nobody ever talked about this at all. Now, fast forward all of these years later, this is so prevalent, it's obnoxious. And it's mainly because of the diet that we eat, right? So, metabolic syndrome is basically coming from, I'm trying to think in my head. So I think it's Dr. Ken Berry that talks about how we should stop calling it insulin resistance and we should call it hyperinsulinemia, because basically what we're doing is we're eating things that are spiking our sugars all day long, which is calling on our insulin all day long. And then we get high insulin, we get high inflammation, and the insulin actually, the cell closes off and won't let the insulin in anymore. So you just get high insulinemia, right? And this is really causing an issue with our weight, and that's really frustrating. So over the years that I have even paid attention, because now you have to understand, like, where I started. Italian, massive sugar addict, in my 40s, hot mess express, was not going to do anything about my food. I am going to talk about food here in just a second. And I know you can't see it on Facebook, sorry. I tried to do the profile view on StreamYard yesterday, and it was just really goofy. It did not do what I wanted it to do. That's okay. And I just really wasn't going to do anything about my sugars. I mean, it's, being Italian, food being the conversation, it was really a little daunting in my brain. So that's not what I started with. And thank God that my mom bugged me enough about my sugars to keep me paying attention, because I can tell you exactly how I did exactly what I did. So I basically am the only one in my family to have avoided type 2. I've gone from a 2X down to a large in my 50s. And I really do just like to share how I did this, how I exactly did this, so that people can know. Also, too, over the years, as I've switched out my ingredients, I've liked to follow people like Dr. Ken Berry, Dr. Eric Berg, people like that, because I needed to understand why my dad died at 63 so young at 63 from type 2 diabetes with a lazy Susan full of meds. Weren't meds supposed to help him? Wasn't that like the goal? Wasn't that like what we were supposed to do? Okay, so I guess maybe I was a little naive, right? So anyway, so jump on in. Let me know where you're coming in from on the replay. I would love to know. And I want to talk about 30 grams of protein in a breakfast. So when I started to trade things out, I realized that I didn't have a clue about separating out a protein, a carb, and a fat. Like, I wasn't paying any attention to any of that, right? You just eat the food that you like. But the problem is that when we are constantly eating, spiking our sugars over and over and over again, and calling on insulin over and over and over again, we are just storing more fat, because insulin is a fat storing hormone, and we are gaining weight or not being able to lose weight. And you have no idea how many DMs I receive. No idea. I eat clean, I eat healthy, and I understand according to society standard that may be true, But once you've crossed over to insulin resistant land, like you've entered the gates of this, it's just a little different game. It's not a bad game. It's just a different one. And so once you recognize that and you can actually switch your thought process as to how you're doing it, or like how to eat for insulin resistance, I'm telling you, it'll change everything. So the first thing that I talk about, because Maria Emmerich really promotes a high protein, and this is kind of, I just loved her information for a long time. The reason why, if you're in my Facebook group, it's Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. You will know the reason why I love that is because she's teaching high protein, and she has also taught me, this Italian girl, how to trade out food ingredients. So I've just followed her recipes for a long time. So I reference her a lot because of that. It's been very, very helpful for me. So, all right. So let's just look at this for just a second. Okay. And let me help you, because people are like, how in the world are you supposed to get over 100 grams of protein a day? Actually, shoot for like your goal weight in protein. We are very under proteined in our world. This is the deal, is that we literally just have not paid attention for so dang long that we are confused as to how to even like dissect our food with our eyes and figure out what we're eating. Okay. Because everything's been all mishmashed together. So I'm completely grain-free, sugar-free. It makes everything like about 1,000,000 times easier, and you can really love your food. So let's dissect this. Yesterday I did a live, and it was, I think, over 30 grams of protein. This is 29. Now I could have added a little bit of cheese to get a little bit more protein, but this is what I do, and you can do it or not. It doesn't matter. But oftentimes the two things that are really slowing down weight loss with people when you are living this way, when you're living more grain-free, sugar-free like this, it's dairy and nuts, both things that I really, really love. So I do have dairy. I have not given up dairy. I'm just going to be really honest. I know that a lot of people do, and you do a really good job. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for all the likes, you guys, on TikTok. I so appreciate you guys. I really, really, really do. Thank you. Thank you. And so I just don't add extra dairy when I don't care, is really what I'm trying to say. Like, so I didn't add the cheese. I could have added a little cheese, gotten over 30. It wasn't that important to me. But by the end of the day, I do want to make sure that I have had well over 100 grams of protein. Why? Because you're going to stabilize your blood sugar. So I have customers that are from insulin resistant, I got a little belly fat and I don't like it, to I'm taking insulin injections. And so those people who, if you're checking your blood sugar ranges, you will notice that if you eat what I'm going to show you here, you're going to be like, and you're just going to feel so balanced. As opposed to, my dad was told that he should be eating, this is 28 years ago, Rice Krispies, cornflakes, Cheerios, skim milk, everything he was told to spike his sugars for breakfast. A banana, an orange. Really horrible, horrible, horrible advice from the med community. Okay. So now fast forward, we're not going to do that anymore, because we're actually going to get you results, and we're going to get you living in sanity land and not crazy land, feeling like maybe you're not being listened to. Maybe you are feeling like I've had many people tell me that they're, because I'm not a doctor, remember, but their endocrinologist telling them like, oh, well, you must just be eating more than you say you're eating. You must just not be really tracking your food. You must just be lazy. No, you're just telling us we can eat 150 grams a day as a type 2, and that is not a good piece of advice. So anyway, and not everybody, right? Not everybody. There's really amazing people. Hey, Anna, good to see you. Mary Cleveland, good to see you, Mary. I love that so much. So we just have to really sort through some of the information that we're being given. Okay. So let's do this, in my opinion, the right way. Okay. Let's not spike our sugars for the first meal of the day. And let's see how we can get at least, like right around that 30 grams of carbs. And you can even push it higher if you want to. I'm telling you, if you have don't be afraid of the volume of food when you're just focusing on your protein. Protein actually equals, it takes more calories to digest your protein, and it takes less. It's not like fat is 9 calories per gram. Protein is like what? Oh man, I had this yesterday. Fat is 9, carbs are they 8, and protein is 4. I believe that's true. So you're eating less. Just don't don't stress yourself out about that, thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not supposed to eat that much. Well, when you go to like a Denny's or a Perkins and you have all of this with the pancakes, that's where you're going wrong. Okay, so this is what I did this morning. I'm going to literally eat 2 eggs that are scrambled, and I do have some onion and green pepper in there. Fried them in butter. Don't be confused. Don't be eating fake stuff. Don't do that. Because if your liver is tired and toxic, did you know that you literally can't lose weight? Don't eat things that are toxic to your liver that way, like seed oils and all of that, the bad ingredients. If you're eating something that's not real food, look at the ingredients and check it. Okay. I know we've been told something. I know we've been told that we should not eat, animal-based products. No, that's not. If that is not you, then this is not your show. Because I am definitely an animal-based product person. I do. Yes, olive oil is fantastic. Olive oil is really good. Great question. Custon, Texas. I have never heard of Custon, Andrea. I've never heard of that. My girlfriend lives in outside of Dallas, so I don't know where Custon is. And then I'm going to like fancy up, whatever, some Greek yogurt. Okay, so let me just tell you. So the eggs are 6 grams a piece, 12 grams. The yogurt, now this yogurt is plain. This one is 2%. You could actually go 5%, and it's Fage, F-A-G-E. So it's a really good high protein Greek yogurt. And I buy mine plain. And I was hoping that my little stevia squirters would come in today, but they aren't. They're going to come in tomorrow. On Thrive Market, I pick up little stevia. Oh, thank you, Anna. You're so sweet. Oh, Justin, Texas. Well, I still don't know where Justin, Texas is, Andrea. You're so cute. So, Justin, you'll have to tell me where that is. So there are these little stevia squirters where you can get plain, or you can get vanilla, or you can get caramel. That is a great way to sweeten up. So this is 3/4 of a cup of yogurt, and the Fage, just look at how thick this stuff is. I just like this brand because of this. That's really thick. That's really good. So instead, what I'm going to do, 3/4 of a cup, 17 grams of protein. So 12, 17, 29. I could have added a little cheese, pushed it over 30, doesn't matter. I'm going to sweeten it with what I have on hand. I keep allulose on hand. If you follow my content and you follow, like when I make, you baked the yogurt last night. Anna, will you message me and remind me what that was that you just said? Because I remember you sending me something on that baked yogurt, and I would love to remember what that was. Oh, that's so interesting. So I make a lot of Maria Emmerich bread. Do you guys know what Maria Emmerich bread is? Put bread in the comments if you do. I would love to know who knows that. It's an egg white protein powder bread, or it's egg white bread. Sometimes you can add egg white protein powder. I do because I like that texture. I'm so glad. I look forward to trying that, Anna. And so I tweak it for myself, and I use a lot of extracts, and I do a lot of weird things, because this is the deal. I needed to change out the foods that I loved. You need to change out the foods that you love, the flavors. You need to be able to dissect and figure out what is it that is so like what is it that you're missing, right? And then you can recreate it. And it's not that hard. There just aren't. Good morning, Teresa. You've made your eggs in butter, but also made wraps out of them with the Egg Life everything. Oh, good job. The Egg Life everything bagel wraps is what she's talking about. Those are really good. I actually have those not those, but I have Egg Life wraps in my fridge. They gave me 12 more grams of protein. Thank you for always explaining the importance of protein. You're welcome. It changes everything, you guys. It changes everything. So you're not a yogurt person, but maybe try sweetening. It would help. A great idea. So yeah, so this is what we're going to do. And protein is just, I'm telling you, maintain your lean muscle mass, lose more weight. Feel satiated, feel nourished, feel like you could go for hours. Like you don't even think about being hangry because you so filled your body with like fuel. right? This is burning oak in your body instead of burning pine. So I'm going to use some allulose, which is what I normally use for my Maria Emmerich bread. And I actually don't even know how much of this I want. Now, this is pretty granulated. It just happens to be, it's no big deal. I think that a liquid stevia would mix this in even better. And just think about it. If you added a caramel stevia, you have caramel yogurt. I'm just saying, I'll probably do that here this week too, because that's such a great idea. So I'm just going to kind of test it. That was not sweet enough for me. So I'm going to add another tablespoon. But now this is what I'm going to do. So when it comes to fruit, people ask me this question all the time. What do you eat for fruit? Do you eat fruit? I'm just going to give you the God's honest truth. When you are insulin resistant, just stick with berries. I know that's a hard pill to swallow, and that sounds so restrictive, but it's not. My dad just lived on bananas and oranges, and I understand God made good food. I'm not confused. He made really good food for us. That has nothing to do with the fact that once you are insulin resistant, you just have to change the way you're doing things. Okay. Like just receive it and go, okay, you know what? Just because I want to feel better, maybe I want to avoid meds. Maybe I want to try to get off meds. Maybe I just want to lose weight. Maybe I want to not be crashing and burning all day long and feeling disgusting. I'm just going to view everything through the lens of insulin resistance, and I'm going to go on my healing journey. It's okay. It's not scary. It's really not. So I'm going to add some, I buy organic blueberries or fruit in general. This is a really good way to actually buy berries that are organic. Okay. Because you can get them frozen. So I'm just going to put in, let's see, what is a serving size just to know? 1 cup. Well, I'm not going to put in 1 cup. And just understand there's no protein in blueberries. Okay. So if you don't know your protein, there's no protein in blueberries. So there, maybe, I don't even know, maybe that's a 1/2 cup. Let's do a 1/2 cup. And then I'm going to add some cinnamon. I'm just a cinnamon girl. I like cinnamon. Cinnamon is also really good for blood sugars and everything else. I add cinnamon to almost everything. I do it a lot in my Maria Emmerich breads. And then I'm literally just going to mix this up. And if it's not sweet enough, I can add more, like a liquid monk fruit, a liquid stevia, whatever. But if I buy higher fat, higher protein like this, a Greek yogurt, this is Fage, it's nice and thick and creamy. If I do this, I have control over my ingredients. I'm going to save money by buying it in a container that was probably about this size for yogurt, but I'm also going to have control. I measured this out. This was 3/4 of a cup. Now that looks like more than 3/4 of a cup, but that's what that is. 17 grams of protein. You love blackberries. I love blackberries. They are so good. And then my daughter has, she grows berries. Like she has got raspberries, organic raspberries coming out of her ears when they start to bloom or produce. What kind of brand? This one is Fage, Fage, Fage Greek yogurt. That's just what this one is. And I basically, I do that because number one, I want it to be high protein. That's really number one. Okay. And then number two, I just want a little bit more control, right? Are there certain grains that you eat to replace wheat or bread? I am completely grain free. So no grains. Grains will spike your sugars just too much. But I'm also going to tell you this. I am grain free initially because I wanted to stop spiking my sugars and calling on insulin. But now I'm grain free because it is a part of me not aching. When I began to turn back around my insulin resistance, this is how I knew I was doing it. So I didn't even start with food because being Italian, here, I'll show you guys. You guys didn't even get to see stuff. So this is 2 eggs scrambled with little red pepper, little onion, and this is the yogurt that I'm mixing up. And this is 29 grams of protein for the plate. Your stevia has, say that again, farm wife. Your stevia has arthritis in it. Say that again, whatever is in that. When I started this whole journey, you guys, I was very ignorant, very naive. Like, it is irony of all ironies that this is what I talk about online, that this is what I share. But I'm so passionate about it because I have now watched people. Erythritol, yes, erythritol is really great. And anybody that wants to know about that bizarre study that came out, go to YouTube and type in Maria Emmerich, EMMERICH, erythritol. And there's an 11-minute video on that erythritol study and how faulty it was. So yes, totally good. And being just Italian and not paying attention, I wasn't aware of my body. I didn't understand that being gestational diabetic and then hypoglycemic, I didn't understand that that was insulin resistance. I didn't know that I had a 7 times more likely chance of being diabetic in my lifetime. I didn't know that insulin was a hormone. I didn't know what's a blood sugar friendly food, what's not a blood sugar. Like, I just didn't know any of this. And so, to the point where, and I talk about it all the time, I actually didn't start with food trade outs. I went for quite a while with just supplementation because I needed to turn back what was happening, even though I didn't understand all of my pieces. And so I talk about that all the time. I talk about the trio all the time, the 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. And that's where most all of my testimonies come from. People who are checking their blood glucose levels and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm finally able to get my morning sugars down. Oh my gosh, I'm finally able to lose weight. I wasn't able to do that because when your insulin and your sugars are high, you can't lose weight. You're stuck and you're on a hamster wheel and you're beating your head against a wall and you're thinking there's something wrong with you. You're thinking, maybe you're being like shamed at, an office. Maybe you are just wondering, like, is this just the way it's supposed to be? That's how I was. I was like, maybe I'm just supposed to embrace obesity. Maybe I'm just supposed to embrace being Italian. I mean, these were thoughts that were in my head for real. And when I was able to actually like give my body some raw materials so that it could work, that changed everything. And you can always, on my site, you can always text me and ask me questions too, right? So my phone number is at the top in my profile for Instagram and TikTok. There's a phone number there you can text, or you can go to my site, my KirstenLiebelt.com, my first and last name.com. There's a phone number at the top. It says text me. So you can text me there, okay, and ask me questions. And then if you go down, you'll see there's a second button that has testimonials on the trio. Give yourself some hope today. Do that. And then on the third button, it's actually there. So for people who just want to go and look at it and etc. You have organic xylitol. That's fantastic. You're welcome. That's really, really good. So some people are like, just give me the information. I just want to go and purchase. That's perfect. That's fine. Go to KirstenLiebelt.com. But most people want to chat with me and ask questions, and that's perfect too. And you can do that. So you can text that number and we will chat further. Anyway, so 29 grams of protein. And what this is going to do is this is going to completely stabilize my blood sugar. But I didn't know this at the beginning. So the first thing that I did when I started to trade out my foods was without knowing any terminology at all. So I'm going to use terminology. You just have to know that I didn't know it existed. Okay. So let's play a game. So I started trading out my food ingredients because, of course, my weight was kind of the issue and I wanted to feel better. I was tired of I could tell that my insulin resistance was already turning around because my sugar cravings went down, and that's a sign of insulin resistance. I wasn't hangry, like that gnawing, and you're kind of like a little angry. That went away. The food noise started to calm down. This is all literally just from supplementation. The food noise started to calm down, and that felt so incredibly good because then I felt like I could actually think to do this. I could actually have a thought process to do this. But also too, my body started to change and shift because I wasn't, my sugars and my insulin were starting to go kind of like deflate a little bit. And my cells were becoming more sensitive. And I didn't know any of this. So what I did was I went paleo. Again, didn't even know what paleo was. I just knew that I needed to ditch processed foods, because now I'm post cycle and like I got to figure this out. And I was eating, however, and this is, I think, one of the mistakes that a lot of people make when they're insulin resistant. You listen to a lot of the noise that's out there in social media land that tells you, listen, honey, it's just all about balance. Don't be listening to these almond moms. Don't be listening to anybody who's, they're just trying to, whatever. They're giving you advice that's too restrictive. This isn't sustainable. And you think, oh, you're right. Maybe it's not. Maybe this is too hard for me. Maybe I can't really do this. And I'm telling you, that is not true. This is incredibly sustainable. It not only tastes amazing, you're eating real food, you're eating good fats for your hormones that make you happy and your brain to function. That's sustainable. Right? And then also what I was doing was I was eating real food, but I was eating too many. I ended up stopping sweet potatoes, foods that were starchy vegetables, because what? God didn't make bad food, right? God didn't make bad food. Well, it's true. He didn't. But once you're insulin resistant, you're just in a different land. You're just in a different realm. And now you have to turn it back. You got to step it back, step it back, step it back. And is it going to happen overnight? Nope. Over time. Over time. I always tell people that like start up on the trio. I'm like, listen, you have 6 months of a guarantee. Like that's ridiculous. Nobody does that. Everybody else is like, we have a 30-day money back guarantee. How do you know any results in 30 days with insulin resistance? You don't. You can know some, but really not the fullness. Like you need to have a little long-term thought process because now you're healing. You're healing a system that kind of got wonky. What happened? Your cells said, the door is closed for service. Like we're done now. We're done having all of this insulin and glucose put in. We're kind of done. So we're closed for the day or the week or the month or the year. But your pancreas is like, but I do a really good job. I'm going to make more insulin. I'm going to make more insulin. I'm going to make more insulin because I must not have made enough because it's not getting into the cell. I got to make more. I got to make more. Do you guys remember do you remember the commercial long time ago? If you're close to my age, I'm 59. The guy who would get up for Dunkin' Donuts, got to make the donuts at like 4 a.m. or whatever. Well, your pancreas is like, got to make the insulin. It's just going to keep on going. And I'm just telling you, that's what's happening inside of your body. So this is an inside job. So let's fix it from the inside out. Get your body functioning from the inside out. And who knew that if you gave your body raw materials, it would function at a higher level? Who knew that this was possible? Okay, so that's where I start to talk to people about like the trio, the 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. You can either just go to my site, KirstenLiebelt.com, but don't do it without looking at the testimonies on the second button. Look at the testimonies. She says, yes, about the comment about sweet potatoes. You were eating them often. I know. Hello, me too. And medjool dates. That was my, because it's natural sugar. There's nothing wrong with natural sugar. You're right. Unless you're insulin resistant. That's the catch. You're eating them too often after doing a program with functional diet. That cost over $3,000. Ouch. Even though it was, and then you were told you were insulin resistant. But sweet potatoes were recommended to eat often. Beans too. I love both, so ate both often. And now because of me, you know better, Teresa. Thank you, Teresa. I'm so glad. Listen, you guys. And you have to understand, I had such imposter syndrome for so long. I didn't come online and talk about this forever. And the reason why is because I actually am the one that avoided type 2. And so who am I? Right? And then I realized, wait a second. You're right. Thank you for following. Thank you so much. You're right. I don't take my blood because I don't need to, because I'm not type 2. But I did when I was gestational diabetic. I took my blood 4 times a day. I did pay attention to the fact that I was not able to give my dad a kidney when he was on the kidney transplant list because of the history of type 2 in our family. I did pay attention to all of the meds that he was taking when he passed. A lazy Susan full. He took the path of medication. I took the path of supplementation. I'm 59, no meds, no type 2 in sight. This is something I've done for over 10 years. I've taken these supplements for over 10 years. So this is not a gimmick. This is not anything other than I really want people to be educated. If you're insulin resistant, stop riding the line. Stop listening to people that said, keto is not sustainable. That's just, it's not good for your body to eat that much protein. All of these things that have been, because listen, I've heard it all. I heard it all for my own family. My dad was on kidney dialysis. My mother had renal cancer. She had a kidney removed. They told her to be careful about protein. So she became a carboholic, ended up with type 3 diabetes, insulin resistance of the brain, dementia for the last 5 years of her life, and passed away last year at 94. And we took care of her for those 5 years, my sister and I. So I've heard it all. I know it all. I understand. I don't know it all. I'm going to take that back because that's not a true sentence. I don't know it all, but I've heard so many of these pieces. And I really do just want you to know. Yes, Andrea, nutritional yeast, that's totally fine. And arrowroot, yes. I just want people to know, listen, don't be eating legumes left and right. I understand that they are a high protein. They're going to spike your sugars too much. They are. Sweet potatoes, natural sugars like medjool dates, like I was eating because my husband's grandma made the best pinwheel cookie date cookies ever on the face of the planet. No, because your goal right now is to eat protein that stabilizes your blood sugar, keeps you very even, humming along, calling on low amounts of insulin. Because every time you eat, you're going to call on insulin. You want to call on low amounts, not high amounts, chasing everything you just ate. I got to make more. I got to make more. I got to make more. And your cell goes, nope. And your insulin goes, your body goes, well, your insulin says, I am a fat storing hormone. So nice to meet you. I'm going to take all of this extra glucose and I'm going to turn it into fat in the ways that you don't want them. So let's see. Fat pockets on the inside of your knees, your back fat, your belly fat, like your arm fat right here. Right here. I got to do it on the side so people can see. All of that is stored fat from high insulin. Just telling you the truth. So I don't do any legumes once in a blue moon because I really do love peanut butter. If I was on a business trip, if I was at a conference and I didn't have any access to anything, I would eat peanut butter. But number one, peanut butter is not a protein, it's a fat. That's number one, very high fat, very high calorie. And number two, it is a legume. So I don't really do legumes a lot because again, it's just gonna, I'm trying to lose weight. I've gone from a 2X down to a large. I want to go to a medium. Like that's my goal, right? Like I've got my goals too, just like you do. And so I'm working my own body and getting my own body to function. And I want to burn fat. I do not want to burn muscle. Make that your goal, that you're not burning muscle. So a lot of times, and I don't know all the deal. Oh, Mel Ann, good. I'm so glad you were liking the info. I don't know. I have not researched it because it's not in my interest to research it. Maybe I should. I don't know. I have a lot of people I talk to about it. A lot of people on supplements that, the trio that I talk about for insulin sensitivity that have used or whatever, that have used the shot, the O shot, or there's a W shot injection. And they don't like the side effects, but also too, my biggest concern with all of y'all girls, my biggest concern is that when you're losing weight, you think that all you need to do is lose weight and you don't care if it's muscle mass or you're not thinking that it might be. And I took care of my mom with dementia for 5 years. You want your muscle mass. You want your lean muscle mass. You want stability in your legs. You want strength in your arms. I'm just telling you, these things you don't want to lose weight at all cost. I know we feel that inside of ourselves. Trust me, I've spent almost my entire life. Nothing feels as good as, what's that saying? Does anybody know the saying? Nothing feels, no oatmeal. No oatmeal. Oatmeal's really, 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 really bad. High spike. Peanut butter is not great for you, Anna. It's not. But I'm not saying that I would never. I kind of don't because I'm now out of the habit, but it's not a good staple at all. And it's a fat. It's not a protein. Hold on. Somebody asked me, what did you ask? Oatmeal is bad. Yep. Hello, movie mama. Good to see you. Thank you for the follow, you guys. Thank you so, so much. Nothing tastes there. That's it. Nothing tastes as good as thin feels. Who was raised with that saying? Nothing tastes as good as thin feels. Is that not like such an incredibly toxic statement? That's really sad. Now, don't get me wrong. When I lost weight in my 20s for a half a minute, and I was like a size 12, and that felt really good. I'm not far from that now, but I'm not there yet. Size 12, that felt really good. And that was a common saying. So we think that thin at all costs is what matters. That's why we so easily buy into the marketing. Fat-free, fat-free, low fat. I have to unplug my phone here. Plug in this one. Fat-free, low fat, all of these things. Everything that they demonize, I'm just going to be really honest. It's not true. Oh, good for you, Anna. I'm right at a 14. I'm on my way to a 12 right now. And actually on top, I'm a large. Protein powder, depends. I actually do use a protein powder. And that again, so my site is kirstenliebelt.com. If you don't want to look at anything, you only want to see the phone number at top where you can text me. It says text me, it gives you a number. You can do that and ask me questions, right? And if I mention a product or if I mention something and you want to know more about it, do that. And this would be one of them because I don't think this is on any of my buttons. There's a protein powder that I use that is, it's little pods that they dissolve in water and they are sweetened with stevia, chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. And so I do use good protein. You want to make sure it's a good, clean protein, right? I use egg white protein in my bread. I do that. And I'm trying to think the thing with protein is that you would not want to do a pea protein. You would want to do like a whey protein. But the problem is that with whey protein, it's not that you can't use it. Whey, dairy can slow down your weight loss. Just know in your picture of choices, just know that dairy can slow down your weight loss. So I'm not against it at all. I buy my strawberry ones, the strawberry pods, and then I'll add them to cottage cheese. So that's dairy, but whatever. Okay, so hold on. Oh, so Denise, what medications or supplements do you take, or are you only controlling your sugar with diet? Yes. So good question, Denise. I take supplements and I've done this for over 10 years. The trio is the base. Okay. 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. That's why I say, if you go to my website right over here for you guys, kirstenliebelt.com, on the second button, you will see the testimonies, a handful of them, not all of them. Very helpful for people to understand people's sugars are coming down and it's correlating with weight loss. Okay. So that's what's happening. And you can see the testimonies. And then on the third button is the trio. But you can always text me and ask me questions before you do anything, if that's of help to you. Anyway, but also too then, when it comes to supplementation, I'm not going to lie, there are a lot of you out there that are having digestive issues. You're having a hard time digesting certain supplements. You're having a hard time digesting certain foods. well, then I would steer you towards a thought process of a really good probiotic. Like I should grab it. I have a probiotic that is in a powder stick that is a prebiotic and 5 strains. And I could sprinkle that on this yogurt right now, and that would be amazing. You want a really good probiotic for your gut. If you're having a hard time digesting your carbohydrates, your proteins, and your fats, get a digestive enzyme. I think that one is on my site. Grab the digestive enzyme and take those as you're eating, and you'll notice such a great difference. And the reason why is because your pancreas makes enzymes, but if things aren't working quite right, you're not getting enough enzymes to do what your body needs to do. So supplementing with enzymes is a really beautiful way to help your process. If you're feeling super bloated after you eat, if you're feeling like you have to unbutton your pants because you're just like, ugh, think about grabbing a digestive enzyme. That's going to help you a lot. When you were diagnosed with diabetes, they had you speak with a nutritionist every week. Everything she recommended was spiking my sugar. Oh, I can't even. Okay. So I stopped taking her advice. Your advice is working for me, Andrea. See, do you understand though the imposter syndrome of that? You know what I mean? Like, this is just because I spent the 28 years since my dad died looking into all of this and trying to get it. So you went from a size 18 to an 8 and from a 2X to a small on a shirt. Andrea, that is phenomenal. That's the direction. And don't we want to lose fat? Let's lose this fat. Let's lose the fat, you guys. Let's make our bodies burn the fat, like force it. Stop giving it any sugar to burn because it's going to burn the sugar first. Stop giving it to your body in legumes, in grain, in sugar's obvious, in natural sugar, in fruit. Most of the fruit has been hybrid anyway to be sweeter. Like we took it and we made it worse. This is what we've done in our marketing. Stop doing that and make your body force it to burn fat. The downfall is loose skin, and my 2 best friends have more down to the bottom floor. Oh, yes. And that is true. And so without massive amounts of skin looseness, collagen. And I do have a collagen peptide also that is very helpful to make your skin go right back, to make your skin stay tight to your muscle. You want to do that. Oh, Yvonne, tell me why. Is my audio off? Oh, I'm cutting in and out. Somebody tried to call me. Is it better now on Instagram? I would like to know if it's better now. Let me know. I'm cutting in and out. I wonder why. I wonder if the replay will still be that way. It's better since you came back after telling you that it was cutting in and out. Now I'm back to normal. Okay, so for people, if you go out and come back in, it works. Okay, yay. Okay, it's working good now. Excellent. So Teresa, I've said it before, but what you and I have in common, starting with age, Italian heritage, parents' illnesses, taking care of them in their illness, lifelong weight struggles, and just found out yesterday our shoe size. Yes. How lovely. Because of all the common ground we share, I know following your educated advice is what makes the most sense to me. We've been duped by the healthcare industry. Yes, we have, long enough. One protein powder I am loving is 100% grass-fed, grain-free beef bone broth. Can you gain muscle mass again once you lose it? Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, yeah, resistance training. Like you could even use bands. You don't even have to go to a gym. You can use bands. You can do all sorts of, resistance training, resistance to your muscle, and build back muscle. Very important. Yes, very important. Don't lose your muscle mass at all. Don't lose weight at all cost. Okay, so you made chips from the cottage cheese, Anna? I saw that. Okay, so Anna says she went from a 14 to a 12 using the trio. Yep. Yay. That's amazing. That's amazing. I know that is so goofy. I don't know why it does that. It's mind blowing. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. Avocado, yes, very good. Yay. Avocado is a good fat. And the thing is that it's like, don't be afraid to realize, like, I just want to give you permission to understand that this is a process. Okay. So everybody's going to be different. You're all at a different starting point. So when Anna started the trio, I think it was back in December, Anna, that, her starting point is going to be different than somebody else's. Somebody else might be on multiple meds. I'm not a doctor. I never advise about that. I only take in the testimonies and what people tell me that they did on their own. Okay. So I just want people to be really clear about that. But for those people who are testing their sugars and they can see that by giving their body those raw materials to help their sugars and their insulin, and they're getting your liver up and functioning, dealing with that belly fat, that visceral belly fat, like that's what the trio does. I'm just telling you, if you are somebody who will assess yourself, if you will take a minute and just assess your own life, like pay attention to, okay, this was me. Gosh, I wonder if those sweet potatoes are spiking my sugars too much. I should probably back off on the sweet potatoes. So then I did. Oh, dang it. I bet those Majol dates too. Shoot. So then I found a trade out. So for me, I do things like this because I didn't stop being a foodie, you guys. I'm Italian. I thought I had to stop being a foodie, but that's not what happened. So now what I do is I go, okay, fine. I'll take yogurt, I'll sweeten it up, I'll add some cinnamon and some blueberries, put it in the freezer, do whatever you want, and enjoy something the way that you want it. This might not be for you, but maybe when I make a Maria Emmerich bread and I use an extract. Oh, and that was the other thing. I was actually going to add to this, and I probably will before I eat it. I'm going to add to this banana extract because one of the things that I miss is banana. I miss the banana flavoring. Do you understand? Does that make sense? So it's like, I'm just saying, you can trade out the foods that you love and you don't have to give up everything. I have to try it, the cottage cheese chip. I will do that. Hey, Carrie, good to see you. My husband's on here. My hubby's on here. I will try that. I actually will because I've seen that now a couple of times. Have y'all seen this cottage cheese chip thing? Basically, what you're doing is you are taking parchment paper and you're spreading cottage cheese on it thin, and then you're baking it. And I don't remember. Thank you for the follow. The extras are amazing. I know. I love working with extracts. The extracts. And you spread it thin. And then I don't know. Tell me, Anna, what you bake the cottage cheese at. I think everybody would like that tip before we jump off today. You bake it kind of maybe sort of low and slow. And then what's happening is the cheese is melting and turning into a crisp. So you have one large crisp and then you can break off pieces. And I have not tried it, but she did. Thank you for the follow. I would love to know, like how long you cook that for and at what degree, because that's one of the things we miss a lot. Now, this is the other thing that I did. And I'm going to tell you, you do dollops. Oh, so you just did little dollops. Interesting. How do you handle eating pasta? Such a great question. I love this because if you know I'm Italian, that was a challenge. That's why I started with supplements, you guys. For about 3 minutes. So she does dollops on her parchment paper for about 3 minutes. Okay. I honestly didn't know how I was going to give up pasta. You're overwhelmed, Susan. I'm sorry. I know it can feel overwhelming sometimes, but that's why I do this. Because if you come and you listen to me and you take away one nugget, that's something you get to put into your repertoire. And then tomorrow, if you get another nugget, it's another piece of your puzzle. Okay. So you're a puzzle piece gatherer. When it comes to pasta, or any Italian food, I honestly, that was my path of least resistance was to supplement. So in my 40s, when my mom would not leave me alone about my sugars, that's when I started the trio, which are the 3 supplements that have the 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. If you want to see the testimonies, or if you want to even purchase, or if you want to text me, my number is at the top for a reason. You can go to kirstenliebelt.com, my first last name.com. Okay. I did that first to turn things around so that I could finally lose weight. Okay. I didn't have a lot of knowledge. It's just what I did. I feel like I had a lot of God answers in some of this. When I started to trade out like pasta, I did things like zucchini noodles. They aren't my favorite because they're wet. I actually prefer spaghetti squash, because literally, if you've never made a spaghetti squash, when you cut it open and you take out the seeds and then you cook it, when you take a fork and you scrape it with a fork, it's literally like a spaghetti-like structure. Okay. I'll give you my favorite here in just a second. So I like spaghetti squash. That's number one. Number two, because one of the things I did with my kids a lot when I was raising my kids, we would do pasta with butter and Parmesan and garlic, salt, pepper. Okay. So we'd have butter noodles, right? Like a low version of, you're making spaghetti squash tonight. That's awesome. A low version of, like mac and cheese, like a cheap version. So I would recreate that with spaghetti squash. Number two, I do now like, I've tried like the miracle noodles that you can buy. They're kind of in a water bag in Walmart. Like you can get miracle noodles and you just want to rinse them really, really, really well. I don't remember what plant they're made out of, but they're made out of plant. I don't care enough to go through that process because I kind of think they're a little stinky. So that's me. So personally now, instead of eating a lot of pasta thought process, I would rather make chicken Parmesan if I'm going to make something like that, like make something without the noodles. And instead of like a breadcrumb breading, I like to make chicken with, I use a panko breading, a pork panko breading. You can get it at Walmart. My recommendation is to get the original and season it yourself, because the flavored ones have janky ingredients, like not so great. But the pork panko, bread your chicken, fry it in butter, something like that, and then move on with your process. But then the last one that really is the best one, and again, you can find this recipe now I'm going to tell you about on my site, my first last name.com. Scroll down past like the testimonies and the trio, scroll down to a free PDF, and it's on there. It's a keto lasagna, and Maria Emmert gave the tip on how to trade out lasagna noodles. And instead of using lasagna noodles, because you're not even craving the noodle, you want the stacked yumminess of the lasagna with the ricotta cheese and the mozzarella and use a sauce that doesn't have sugar in it. She uses sliced deli chicken meat. It is amazing. People come back to me all the time and go, oh my gosh, I so didn't think that was going to work. And then it worked. So I like to go to the deli and I have them slice it. You can buy it. Just don't buy the thin. That's not going to do it for you. But I go to the deli and I have them slice the chicken at a number 2 on the slicer. If you know what the slicer thing is, a number 2. Okay. Susan, I don't have a meal plan, but what I do have is I have a PDF of recipes. You can see my site right here. There's a free PDF of some recipes, and it will give you information on. So for anybody that really feels overwhelmed like Susan does, if this feels like a lot for you, you can either go to the site or you can drop in Facebook. If you just need to have a connection with me, drop recipes and I will help you with that. But you can go. There's a free PDF, and inside the PDF, you'll find information on insulin resistance. You'll find information on the trio so that you can understand how to get your body to function at a higher level. And then you're going to find some snack ideas and recipe ideas. If you feel like you need to be more encouraged, like the whole idea of what I do is I want people to feel like they have a track to run on. And so I have a Facebook group that's also on my site, my first last name.com. there's a Facebook blue button and you can get into the site that way. And every month at the beginning of a month, and this might really help you, Susan, at the beginning of the month, I do a 5-day challenge. And the reason why I do it at the beginning of the month is so that you can have hope and encouragement, get some tools in your toolbox. Like some people will buy the trio and get it ready for the challenge. And like I had somebody in January, they're like, I lost 5.5 pounds just in the challenge week by just becoming more consistent and intentional with a routine. And let's do the challenge. Let's learn ingredient trade outs. I'll take you into my pantry. I'll take you into my refrigerator. I'll talk to you about why supplementation works. Like this is not a gimmick. This is filling in some raw materials for your body that you're deficient in and you can get fixed. Let's make a recipe. Let's get things in your repertoire so that you can then take on that month that you're living in. So we did the challenge at the beginning of May, and then you can take May and you can just pound it into the ground. And then we're going to do it again in June. And you can do it the same thing. And you add up your months because this is not an overnight deal. This is not get ready for the dance on Saturday night, lose 10 pounds. This is a healing journey. So I always tell people when you choose to like engage in supplementation thought process, even if it's not the trio, even if you're just like, I just like the probiotic you're talking about. I just need the digestive enzymes. I'm just interested in the carb blocker. I'm just, whatever. It doesn't matter, but you get me. And I don't say that with arrogance. I say that with confidence. I spent years now working on figuring this out so that I can teach people not just how to do it, but why. Why does this work for you when you are insulin resistant? Why is it that, Anna was finally able to get results? Why is it that Andrea finally was, she was getting such poor advice from the matrix that she was being told she could eat sugar spiking foods. And it wasn't until she connected with this information that she was actually able to, and what did you say? Because I now forget, but like you went way down she went from an 18 to an 8 in jeans and from a 2X to a small in her shirt. You just have to have some of the basic ideas, and you have to have the ability to cut out all the noise. The noise is coming from somebody maybe who's in her 30s and she can eat whatever she wants. The noise is coming from people who are telling you that this is not sustainable. Well, you know what is not sustainable? Ooh, now I'm going to get passionate. Watch out. What is not sustainable is what my dad was doing. That's not sustainable. He would have dialysis on Monday, and Monday night he would throw up. And on Tuesday he'd feel better. And on Wednesday he'd go back for dialysis. On a Wednesday night he'd throw up. Thursday he'd feel good. And Friday he'd go back for dialysis. And Friday night he'd throw up. That was the last 2 years of his life. That is not sustainable. Not making memories with your kids or your grandbabies is not sustainable. This is easy. This is really good. It tastes good. It's easy. It's yummy. It's not prepackaged CRAP that comes from, the marketing people telling you to eat their stuff. No, this is actually really easy in comparison. Anna, thank you so much for sharing. You're amazing. You love the tortilla. Thank you so much for sharing them. Yep, I should share about that too. So the whole grain or protein pasta aren't good either. No. Yes, you are welcome. Nope. You should try the gluten-free panko. I know, but you know what, movie mama? For me, that's still grain, even though it's gluten-free. So I don't do any grain. So even if, I don't care if it says it's whole wheat, it's organic, it's, I don't care, because that's not the point. The point is whether or not it's spiking sugars. Now, listen, if somebody else is trying stuff and it's working, that's fine. I really do enjoy the level of how I don't ache. That's a big piece of my puzzle. Like I want to be out there learning how to, I've only played like, I think 12 games of pickleball, but I want to learn more, right? I wake up in the morning and I don't ache. It's a piece of my puzzle. So that's just for me. Almond tortillas. Okay. I'll tell you about that, Julie. Okay. So I went to Costco and I bought the almond flour tortillas. Now, disclaimer, Remember at the beginning of this little show, whatever you want to call it, I talked about the 2 things that stall your weight loss. Number 1 is dairy. I'm not dairy free, but dairy. So I do watch it. And number 2, nuts. I could eat nuts all day, every day. Like, get me that big container of mixed nuts at Costco, or even just the bag of the pecans at Costco. I can eat them plain. I don't even need anything on them. I have to move this. Anyway, so those are the things that get me really excited, right? Well, I went to Costco and they have almond flour tortillas, siete, not siete, right? Anna would know because she's Latino. Siete. They're really good. They're really good. They're a great alternative for my husband, but this is the deal. So when you take one and you fry it in butter and you put, like, I just took cheddar cheese slices that I got at Costco, really good sharp cheddar, put that on there. And then I put another one on top and I fried it and I kind of flipped it until it got pretty crispy. And then I cut it like into little triangles and I was giving them to my grandsons on Sunday, Mother's Day. They love them. They literally, when you use cheddar, taste like a Cheez-It cracker. Amazing. Amazing. You don't miss anything. You guys, the days are gone of the 90s when they told you that you had to hate everything you ate because they served you cardboard. They served you cardboard and told you you better like it or else you're just going to be fat. But what they were feeding you was sugar-filled, fat-free CRAP. That's what they were doing. And you were told that you had to like gnaw on rice cakes. And how bad was that for you? The rice cakes were a really bad idea. The snack wells were a really, really, really bad idea. Ask me how I know. I had a sweet tooth. I'm still a sweet person. I still am. I think I'm missing. Yes, Yeti. Okay, thank you. Stay away from processed foods. You have to. You're right. You have to. You love the new. Yeah, okay. I read that one. Anyway, yeah, they do have tortilla chips. I have actually not looked at the ingredients at all. This is brand new to my world. I'm going to be honest. It's probably not something I'm going to delve into too much. Just because I know me. Okay. So you have to know you. I've gone from a 2X down to a large. I appreciate how I feel, how I function, how I can move. I appreciate the movement in my body being easier. And so I don't want to slow down any more weight loss. But that's been a journey for me too, right? So it doesn't mean that I don't occasionally go and get like a pint of keto ice cream and, whatever. I just don't do it all the time. I can't because I'll just stall out and I don't like it. So they have cassava flour. Okay. See, and I personally would not do cassava flour. That's going to be too high in carbs for me. You made taco last night. It was a hit for you. You did taco. So like with the almond flour tortillas, that's my husband. See, that's what he did. He didn't make taco, but I had fried up hamburger and chorizo and like onion and pepper, and he loves that mixture. So he used an almond flour tortilla for that, and he was very pleased with that. So it's a great alternative. He's just gotten to the point where he's super sensitive to anything with gluten in it. So he's getting more like me where he'll eat a hamburger without a bun and do all the things without a bun. And that does save him a lot of like frustration. And for me, I've just completely changed over. I didn't do it overnight. I get it. I had carb blocker in my pockets for years. You guys, I talk about this all the time. The size tortillas have, never mind. Okay. How many carbs a day with tortillas? Carbs a day, period. This is my recommendation. This is what I work towards. And now I maintain 20 carbs or less a day. That's what I do. Not net carbs, no games, no nothing. If you really, really want to tweak, if you really, really want to start dropping weight, if you really, really want to start burning fat, you've got to get your insulin and your sugars down. And you have to begin to give your body raw materials to fill in these nutritional gaps. And it's amazing how that can help. But I will tell you about the carb blocker. So that is something I don't use anymore. You don't have to use everything forever. I still use the trio because I'm using it. I want my visceral belly fat, liver function, pancreas function, all of the things. Like, I'm so not interested in anything down. I'm just not interested. Okay. Carb blocker, I don't take anymore because I really don't need it. But I had carb blocker in my pockets for years. And what happens is when you take 1 to 3 of them, when you sit down to eat, depending upon how many carbs are in your meal, it'll block up to 500 calories of that sugar from hitting your bloodstream. So it tops it out so that the cycle doesn't continue. And that's what you want. Okay. Because if it tops it out, then it would say to me that by doing this and putting a lid on it, you're calling on less insulin and there's less than storage of fat going on, but also less crash. I hope that makes sense. And you can always, again, when you go on my site, kirstenliebelt.com, at the top is a number and it says text me for a reason, right? Okay, I think I got that. So to recap what we talked about today, I talked about this is a meal that has 29 grams of protein in it. When you eat protein and you're insulin resistant, this keeps your blood sugar stable and happy. Okay. It makes you feel full longer, helps you to maintain lean muscle mass, and you lose more weight. This is Greek yogurt that has Fage 2%. You can get the 5% if you want, but Fage yogurt is super thick. I sweeten mine with allulose because that's what I have on hand. But when my little stevia squirts come tomorrow, like caramel, I'll do that because that's really good. And I have cinnamon and blueberries in here, frozen organic blueberries, because that's an inexpensive way to get organic berries into your world. Buy them from the frozen section. Okay. They were picked, they're organic, and then they were frozen immediately, right? So that's an option that is better. When you are like me living in Minnesota, you have a very short berry season. Then I did 2 scrambled eggs with red pepper and onion, and they were fried in butter because animal fat is not the problem. Inflammation is the problem, and overconsumption of carbohydrates, which brought us to the place of insulin resistance. And if you're not insulin resistant, then maybe this information isn't for you, and that's okay. But I'm just saying that's what got us here to begin with, is an overconsumption of carbohydrates. It's almost a level of toxicity, and our bodies can't handle it. Our cells shut down. And that's how we become insulin resistant. Your cell is resistant to insulin. And the insulin is what gets your fuel into your cell for energy. Woohoo! This is why you're exhausted. And then when you are resistant to insulin, the insulin is going to take all of this fuel and turn it into fat on your body. That's what you're not wanting, and that's what you're frustrated about. So as long as you keep spiking your sugars by eating foods that you're told that you can eat, you're just going to stay on the hamster wheel, and it's very frustrating. But if you actually want to like launch your body towards insulin sensitivity, especially as we're heading into summer, then I highly recommend, highly recommend that you go to here's my site, kirstenliebelt.com. It's my first last name.com. You can text me from there. You can look at the testimonies on the trio from there, second button. You can purchase the trio or any other extra supplements that for your specific needs right there. But then you can also scroll down, find a free recipe PDF and a Facebook group. And so you can actually get yourself prepared for the month of June, when I have a challenge again at the beginning of June, by getting yourself set up. And if you don't know, you're like, listen, the trio sounds great. I don't even know if I need a carb blocker. I'll tell you, like, if you don't need something, don't get it, for real. Do not have a supplement cupboard that looks like your makeup drawer. Don't do that. Ask questions and find out if it's right for you. And if it's not, Let's make sure that you're not buying things that you don't need, but you're getting exactly what you do need. Because you know what? Okay, fine. Stinks that maybe we're halfway through May and you're thinking, geez, June is next month, right? But you know what? You can be in a different place by the 4th of July. Just have grace on yourself in the group without shame. We've been taught a lot of bad information through marketing and through the matrix that has not served us well. And it's been very, very frustrating. How many grams of protein per day? Shoot for your goal weight, but a minimum of 100. Okay. And this is 29, 2 eggs scrambled with 3/4 of a cup of Greek yogurt. Plain Greek yogurt that I sweetened myself, added berries and cinnamon to. Okay. No sugar in there at all. And one example would be a chicken breast is like 42 grams of protein. So what sounds like a lot actually isn't. You just have to be mindful. And you can Google anything. You can Google anything saying like how many grams of protein are in a chicken thigh? How many grams of protein are in a 6-ounce steak? How many grams of protein, right? You can do this so that you can get educated and just recognize that that's what you're doing. So Pamela, do me a favor. Go to my first and last name, KirstenLiebelt.com, and you can look at the trio there, or you can text the number trio. I'll get you like some further information right away. So that actually it's probably going to bring you back. You can text me information or text me questions about that, because I would love to be able to help you with that. It matters. It really matters. And again, the testimonies are the helper, because if you leave today and you don't feel hope or encouraged, then I haven't done my job. You need to have hope in your heart that what if some of the information that you've received off of social media and or the matrix has been wrong for your specific circumstance of being insulin resistant? What if it hasn't helped you and it's not your fault? Just want people to consider that. And I'm a high level of personal responsibility person. So I'm not saying that flippantly, like it's not your fault, but I am saying that we've been told things that don't align with actually helping the situation. Okay. Most of it is marketing. And most of it is geared towards, let's just be really, really honest. It's geared towards your answer being meds. And that's a tough pill to swallow. It's hard for us to realize that that's what's happening. So when the only answers that you're being given are add meds or increase a dose, no, not okay. You're definitely insulin resistant. Thank you for sharing. You're welcome. You are so welcome. I love your tact, personal goals here. Well, it's, it took me a long time to recognize that, like, my dad was, we're all just kind of being a little bit taken advantage of in a certain way. And I just don't like it. I don't like it at all. And when this is not terminal, and I say this a lot lately, this is not terminal. We have not been given a terminal diagnosis, right? So number one, we have to have perspective over somebody who has, and they do have to follow protocol, or they do have to really dig deep into their research to decide what their protocol is going to be, right? Different universe. Eating protein forward is not hard. Tiny bit of education will take you a long way. A long way. Andrea, that is absolutely true. It's all about keeping us sick. I know it's all about the money. I know it is. And I do have people that I work with who have been walking the C journey. I do, because estrogen dominant C things, C diseases, this is all connected. It's all connected. Just saying, because insulin is a hormone. Estrogen is a hormone. It's all hormones. And in my challenge that I do quote somebody who talks about, listen, people, and he's a doctor, this is not a calorie in, calorie out problem. This is a hormonal problem. Obesity is a hormonal problem. So when you shift the way you're looking at things, when you shift the way you're actually dealing with things, it's amazing how all of a sudden the noise kind of falls away. And then if you help your body, if you give your body the raw materials that you need, the food noise can fall away. That's what the trio is that I'm talking about. That's a base anyway. And then when you have brain space that's given back to you and you can think clearly and your brain fog starts to retreat, then you can easily go, okay, 2 eggs, that's 12 grams of protein, 3/4 cup of Greek yogurt, that's 17 grams of protein. Okay, this is 29 grams of protein. It's not going to spike my sugars hardly at all. Good to go. And then you're good at assessing yourself. Oh, look at that's so funny. Oh, look at there. I stayed full for a really long time. I didn't want to take a nap 2 hours later. Right? And you can stop listening to the noise of even the matrix. If they're telling you that you can have 150 grams of carbs a day, no, you can't, in my opinion, in my layperson opinion. So, all right. I'm going to actually go and eat. You guys have a wonderful day. I'll be back again tomorrow and we'll chat some more. If you need anything at all, please don't hesitate. Like, this is my joy. This is what I love to do. Go to my first last name.com. Text me if you have questions. Testimonies on button number 2. The actual purchasing starts on button number 3. Register with your name. I forgot to say that. Register with your name so that you can get the perks. Don't miss out on the perks. Don't miss out on the points, because points turns into cash off of future orders. Don't miss out on that. Don't miss out on free shipping, all that stuff. That's kind of like, yeah, I want you to save pennies where you can. And then if you scroll down even further, recipes for free, information on insulin resistance for free, Facebook group, jump in there. Don't hesitate. Like, stay connected. Follow if you're not following. And always feel free to reach out, because this is the only way that I can build a relationship with you so that I can actually help you on your journey. And if you're trying to get ready for that June challenge, go and grab the trio. Think about the carb blocker if you need it. If you don't get it. And then I can see you in the group. And that would be so great. It's over 3,000 women now. And it's a good place to be encouraged and supported and to be able to ask a question and to be reminded. Do this without shame. There can't be any shame in your game, because you cannot heal a body in shame. Okay. So have a terrific Tuesday, and I will see you guys again tomorrow. Thank you so much. Yeah. Take care, Anna. I can never do Facebook without using my cursor. Have a good day, you guys.